I'm Sharon Ijason and welcome to Labor Lens. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of the program. We will be discussing about youth unemployment in Nigeria. Also, we have vacancies for those who are seeking for job placement in the country. But first, let's begin with the news.
The Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees has raised concern over the process of amending sections of the Constitution pertaining to local government autonomy passing through the State Houses of Assembly. Speaking on behalf of the union, his national president, Comrade Ibrahim Abukadri, said the call for local government autonomy bill is to foster all-round democracy by strengthening capacity of local government to generate more revenue. He also stressed that the present herdsmen and farmers clash can be solved if local governments are given the powers to create local government security.
If you look at the area of security challenges, as a local government practitioner, I know, as a young local government worker in the north, I know the farmers herdsmen clashes started as day back as around 8 years. And at that period of time, wherever we had any clash between farmers and herdsmen, it's a matter that local governments, various local governments that witness this kind of clashes, had the capacity to address through the instrumentality of local government security committees. But because the institutions of local governments have been weakened, the herdsman farmers clashes become not even state or national issue, is already an international issue.
Labour leaders gathered at different places in Lagos to discuss the way forward in ensuring women have more leadership positions in affiliate unions. The United Labour Congress held a lecture to commemorate the day, while the Trade Union Congress of Nigerian Women Commission held workshops and meetings to celebrate the day. According to Labour leaders in attendance, the International Women's Day celebration belongs to all groups collectively to think, act, and be gender sensitive.
When men are talking and said you can go, but they are not showing it that they are really encouraging us to go, we'll still be held back. So we appeal to our men to give us more support, more solidarity, more financial support, more economical support, and more political support. The more they allow us to occupy positions of decision making and be available, then we will see the advantage of unionism.
There are many unions where women are more, but they allow men to be their president and their general secretaries. We say no, they should take that, they should vote, attend meetings at all times, make sure meetings are fixed at the right time and at the right place, so that at the end of the day they will be able to take that decision in their hand. Because if you are not in the CWC or in the neck, when decisions are being taken, nobody will remember to take decisions for the woman.
The trade union center that some of us are involved in running, it is free. There is no ceiling for the women. And we are using this year's International Women's Day to say that they should come out, we will support them. Just to build that confidence on the women, to say, yes, you can do it, step out, you have our support.
The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, in the third quarter of 2017 said, out of a total active labor force of 85 million people in Nigeria, about 16 million people were unemployed in the third quarter of 2017. The report said the category of unemployed persons comprised 8.5 million people who engaged in an economic activity for at least an hour, and 7.5 million people who did absolutely nothing. About 18 million people were underemployed as they worked for 20 to 39 hours a week, which is less than 40 hours required to be classified among the workforce. Fully employed persons who worked for 40 hours and above in the third quarter of 2017 were 51 million people, resulting in a total of 77.6 million people engaged in an extent of economic activity. The report also revealed that more men worked full-time than women, while a higher percentage of female worked part-time between 20 to 39 hours and below 20 hours per week. The absolute number of male full-time workers was pegged at 34.85 million, which is twice the number of female full-time workers, which is pegged at 16.21 million in the third quarter of 2017. A larger percentage of men to women were self-employed in the agricultural sector, while a larger percentage of women were self-employed in non-agricultural areas of work. Organized labor over time has warned that the latest unemployment report released by the National Bureau of Statistics was a threat to national development.
Unemployment in Nigeria now is very alarming, and people are talking of coming out with policy to persuade people from not moving to the ICs to try to get to Europe. You can't stop it. You can't stop it because people are really suffering. The masses are suffering. The ordinary Nigerians are suffering. How many families now can afford even 2 square meals in a day? We've never seen this kind of a thing before. And the government needs to really wake up to do something meaningful so that we can get out of this quagmire.
The Director General of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, Segun Oshinowo, explained that all tiers of government must rise to promote development through reindustrialization, uninterrupted electricity supply, and war against which makes the product of local industries uncompetitive.
You will hear public speakers saying that give them skills. Once you give them skills, they will be employed. Or reform your educational system. Employment is a function of multiple variables, and those variables are mutually inclusive. We can't leave anyone out. What of our environment? We talk of enabling environments. What of our tax system? To what extent is our tax system supportive of employment creation?
Due to the increasing unemployment rate in Nigeria, there has been adverse effects on both the economy and the society. The consequences of unemployment in Nigeria, according to the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, includes reduction of the national output of goods and services, increased rural-urban migration, high level of poverty in Nigeria, increase in the number of dependent people, amongst others.
It's been an issue that NLC have been very consistent in raising. There is no way you can create jobs without industries. All over the world, where the issue of unemployment has been addressed, it has been a combined effort between the non-governmental sector, that is the private sector of the economy, and then government. But government must create the enabling environment for our industries to thrive. You remembered when we were in Lagos with Manufacturers Association, we protested the issue of incessant hike in the cost of power. Power is central to the issue of industrialization in Nigeria. Most companies in Nigeria that have folded and moved to other countries is because power is not there and it's expensive. They maintain their generators. They also have to pay a very high tariff. That cannot take us anywhere. And I think this is deliberate.
Social commentators have said in recent times that solutions to unemployment in Nigeria are: the government must be effective in performing their duties, a social economic environment should be created, the government needs to foresee looming crisis and to make all possible actions to prevent it.
Those big infrastructural contracts we are giving out, to what extent are they translated into jobs for Nigeria? Or we just sign off on those big sums without addressing our mind as to what the contractors will do to generate sustainable jobs for Nigeria.
According to research, the few employed are in subsistence farming and informal sector. Therefore, there is an urgent need for employment drive in the country. sustainable jobs can only come from industry and massive public infrastructural development, such as railways, road construction, reinvention of public schools, and hospitals. Mass unemployment means value subtraction for Nigeria at a time when there is much work to be done and the nation is begging for growth and development.
The issue of unemployment, I think we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder that can explode at any time, considering the fact that majority of Nigerians, of course, are youths. And what are we doing about them? We're looking at a lot of palliatives that are not working. Universities and other higher institutions are turning a large number of graduates out every year without a structure that will take care of them. I'm talking about government being the largest employer of labor. Of course, the private sector should be able to handle quite a lot of them. And the palliatives that they are doing are not just enough. They cannot cater. They are not enough.
The rate of unemployment in Nigeria has consistently increased. I remember there was a time it was 14.2, it rose to 16.6. From there we had 18.8. I think that was the last figure in the last quarter of 2017. And the reasons are obvious. There is no way we can have employment rate dropping with the economy in a shambles. And I blame it on the government. I blame it on administrators of universities and institutions of higher learning.
The signal is very dangerous, and it's just unfortunate that government is playing a lip service towards it, because everywhere in the country, government have a responsibility to provide amenities, provide the enabling ground for use, for the citizens to be able to be gainfully employed. It's not that government should give everybody work, but those enabling environment is lacking in Nigeria.